The bass thrummed against my chest, a joyful tremor vibrating through the polished floorboards of the Hayes Estate's grand ballroom. 18 candles. 18 years. Tonight, though, it felt like 100. My 18th birthday party was in full swing. A whirlwind of laughter, music, and the kind of glittering extravagance only my family could pull off. I should have been ecstatic. And, well, I was mostly. Happy birthday, Finian. Aunt Clara. Her voice was like coming home. She glided through the crowd, a radiant smile on her face, but her eyes, always so kind, held a familiar glint of worry just for me. She wasn't just my aunt. She was my rock, my confidant, the one who patched up scraped knees and broken hearts. Long after my parents were gone, she threw her arms around me, squeezing tight. "My boy, you're officially an adult," she whispered, pulling back to beam at me. "Try not to get into too much trouble." I grinned, a genuine one this time. "No promises, Aunt Clara. You know me." She knew I probably wouldn't. She also knew the quiet ache beneath the surface, the one that sometimes felt like a phantom limb. She and Uncle Arthur had raised me since I was a little kid after the accident. They'd done everything to make my life normal, filled with love and stability. Speaking of Uncle Arthur, he was right behind her, clearing his throat with a hearty laugh. He was more reserved than Aunt Clara, a man of quiet strength and stern glances, but his heart was just as gold. He taught me how to manage my allowance, how to tie a proper Windsor knot, and how to stay calm when things got tough. "Finian, happy birthday, son," Uncle Arthur said, clapping a firm hand on my shoulder. "Another year, another step towards taking over Hayes Innovations. Getting impatient, are we?" I laughed. "Just waiting for you to retire, Uncle. Give an old man a break." He chuckled, a rare, warm sound. "Not yet, lad. Not yet." Just then, a friendly shove nearly sent me stumbling. "Happy birthday, rich boy. Finally legal, huh?" That was Liam Davies, my oldest friend, the perpetually skeptical, always got a joke guy. Liam was my reality check, the one who never let me get too big for my britches, despite the estate and the trust fund. He was working his way through college, constantly ribbing me about my easy life, but he was fiercely loyal. We'd been causing trouble since kindergarten, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Beside him, Maya Sharma rolled her eyes playfully. "Ignore him, Finn. He's just jealous." Maya was the sharp one, quick-witted and incredibly resourceful. She was studying computer science, and whenever I had a weird tech glitch or needed to find something obscure online, Maya was my go-to. She was also the one who'd sometimes tease me about being too innocent for the real world, a warning I usually just brushed off. "Happy birthday, Finn," she chirped, giving me a quick, warm hug. "Party's amazing, as usual." "Glad you guys could make it," I said, genuinely happy to have them there. They were my anchor, the ones who reminded me I was just Finn, not Finian Kalen Hayes, future CEO. The night wore on, a blur of familiar faces, clinking glasses, and the easy comfort of family and friends. I danced with Aunt Clara, talked business with Uncle Arthur's partners, and swapped ridiculous stories with Liam and Maya. For a few hours, the world felt simple, bright, and full of promise. But as the final guests began to depart and the quiet descended upon the grand ballroom, a different kind of silence settled in. I stood by the large bay window, looking out at the sprawling, dark gardens, a gentle breeze rustling the leaves. The last of the moonlight caught a silver charm in my hand. A small, strangely ornate fox, which I'd found gathering dust in my parents' old study just a few weeks ago. Aunt Clara had suggested it was likely just a quirky memento, but it felt different, almost warm. A faint hum seemed to resonate from it, almost imperceptible against the quiet night. Aunt Clara and Uncle Arthur approached, their faces losing their festive cheer, replaced by a solemnity that made my stomach clench. I knew this look. It was the look they wore every year on my parents' anniversary. A quiet, protective sorrow. But this felt heavier. "Finian," Aunt Clara began, her voice soft but strained. "There's something we need to tell you. Now that you're 18, you deserve to know the truth." Uncle Arthur placed a heavy hand on my shoulder. "It's about your parents, son. The accident. It wasn't an accident." My blood ran cold. The comfortable world I'd known, the one they'd carefully built for me, began to crack. "What are you talking about?" My voice was barely a whisper. Aunt Clara's eyes welled up. They were murdered, Finian. And a valuable family heirloom was taken. Murdered. The word echoed in the vast, suddenly cavernous room. Who? How? Uncle Arthur's jaw tightened. We don't have all the answers, but we know who was behind it. It wasn't human, Finian. It was a creature of myth, a monster in disguise. A nine-tailed fox. The words hit me like a physical blow. A nine-tailed fox. From old legends, bedtime stories that thrilled and terrified. My mind reeled, trying to reconcile the smiling faces of my friends and family from moments ago with this chilling revelation. My parents murdered. By that, a creature. It killed your parents, Finian? Aunt Clara whispered, tears tracing paths down her cheeks. And it took something from them. A book. We don't know what it contained. Only that your mother guarded it with her life. That thing wanted it, and it took your parents' lives to get it. The fox charm in my hand suddenly felt cold. Dead weight. The hum was gone. My parents killed by a legend made real. A quiet, simmering rage began to burn within me, pushing aside the confusion and the grief. It twisted into a cold, hard knot of resolve. They thought it was untouchable. They thought it was just a myth. But it was real. And it had taken everything from me. It had my parents' blood on its paws. And it had my mother's book. I looked down at the silver fox charm, then out into the night, towards the distant, glittering skyline. Somewhere out there, hidden in plain sight, was the creature who had destroyed my life. It didn't know it yet, but it had just made an enemy. And I would make it pay.